Welcome to Making Waves, episode 57. Making Waves is the ShipRocked podcast. ShipRocked, if you guys don't know, is a kick-ass rock and roll cruise. We also have our weekly podcast here where we take an hour to spend time with some of the latest, greatest, most influential musicians in the modern rock world today. And today is no different. So we're more than happy that Emily Armstrong from the band Dead Sara has joined us. So thank you, Emily, for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Welcome. We know you're busy as your band, and you guys are rehearsing for an upcoming tour September. Where are you guys at?
Right now, we are in North Hollywood, Arts District, to be exact. Yeah.
Okay.
Los Angeles, I guess.
Undisclosed location.
I mean, it's our rehearsal spot. I mean,
a
it's
hidden bunker
third encore.
deep. Hidden bunker deep in enemy territory. I love it.
Yes.
Well,
they're all
Emily,
still down there.
So your tour, it seems like you guys are going to hit the road here in September, not only doing your own shows, but part of some massive festivals. You want to talk about the tour, what you got planned, who's going to be on the road with you, any of those kind of details that might the fans might take interest in?
Well, we're still trying to figure out who, like, locking in somebody for tour to open up for us. But I think I don't know. We're gonna be probably playing a lot of new songs. Playing a lot of festivals on this tour. I don't think we've ever done that before. You know, like hit the road and then in between play a bunch of fests, which is kind of cool. I like the kind of like playing a club and then doing a festival and then play a few more clubs and do a festival. I love that dichotomy.
You know,
keeps things interesting.
Speaking of festivals, when I was kind of going over some performances I found of you guys on YouTube, and this is one that I was referencing from about 8 or 9 years ago when you guys did Rage Against the Machine's Killing in the Name of.
Mm-hmm.
That was so damned exceptional. I was almost kind of like, wow, I wonder if Zach and the guys have seen this, because they would be floored about, well, the way you guys pulled it off. And it had a lot of ferocity to it. It had a much more punk feeling.
Yeah.
Then they're kind of hip hop flavor to it. So
yeah,
I think that's the beauty of festivals. It allows you to, well, I think your own shows too, but I think it allows you to kind of play to that kind of crowd, more of a meat and potatoes crowd, where if you throw a cover like out there, it's you get an instant response.
It's really fun. And we usually only play that one when the crowd is like rowdy, you know. It's like we don't really want to play that one if they're just kind of standing there. It just makes it very, you know.
Yeah,
lifeless.
there needs to be a collective energy, right?
Yeah.
So
we love to pull that one out.
So you're comfortable. It's like for you guys, it doesn't sound like there's necessarily a fixed hard and fast set list. It's like you can read it and go, you know what, now it's time to pull this one out. The energy's right, the time is right. Do you find yourself doing that with other songs in your set list?
Yeah, not very often, but you know, we'll practice the set list and then we'll be playing it live, and I'll just be like, I don't want to play this one. I don't want to play this next one, because we need to keep this energy up. The crowd is going crazy. I'm going to lose them if we play this next one. So then we just shift to like, okay, cool, get rid of it, and then just get on to the next one. And then maybe at one point put it in somewhere else. So kind of shifting a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good, I mean, it's something that you learn when you play a lot, right? You play a lot of gigs, you know, you can feel the room, but there's also, I've seen some shows where it didn't quite, you know, the artist didn't quite read the room, and it's like they were very scripted. It was like, this is clearly the next song on the list, and there can be those energy peaks and valleys, which I think you should have at a live show. But sometimes it's like, ooh, this song felt pretty weird after that one, didn't it? You know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, we've learned from trying, you know, being like, ooh,
Well, the thing about those kind of like those movable set lists is, if you could do that, the lighting guy might not be on sync with you guys and go, wait a minute, hold on, I didn't plug in this sequence for the song.
True.
But speaking of songs, let's talk about the new one, Heroes, just dropped August 13th. What first question I have to ask is, are any of your heroes still alive?
They're all dead.
They're all dead.
That's why she wrote the song. Are you trying to make her sound like a liar? I mean,
no, dude, not
so
at all.
funny.
It's just, you know, I like to. I think I feel like Emily. A lot of my heroes people I appreciated are gone, but I'm hoping there's still a few that are still bouncing around that I might be able to kind of like grab a little something from. But
I mean,
what was the catalyst for that song?
Well, it was actually written or demoed out. Like the initial shell of that song was written around the time of our last EP. There's a bunch of songs around that time, even today, have not even been touched, but made it onto this album. But at the time, it was overlooked in a way, and we decided to just go with. Sorry, did I lose you? Okay. To go with the 7 songs that were on the EP. And then when we were going into this whole album cycle, Warner, we had signed with Warner, and they were like, we like this. There's something about this one. Like, go and finish this one. And obviously, among others. And we went in the studio, worked it out, and it felt like there was still something missing. And I was just like, I still need to find a chorus. I just like a hook, you know, like. And I was looking down at my phone, and we were just playing, and I just started singing, and I saw it on my phone. It just said, "All my heroes are dead." And it was something that I'd written. Like I write all these kind of like things in my phone just to kind of keep things that I thought were kind of cool. If I heard it, you know, read it. And that was the first thing that I read. And I just started singing, "All my heroes are dead." So it's not necessarily like it was very well thought out for the song. But once that was the thing, the band was like, "Oh yeah, that's the song. Like that's it." Like, and then from there I was able to then rewrite everything else to make sense to that, you know, like that lyric resonated, and then the whole song was then revolved around that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a really interesting song in the sense that you actually come from a kind of a more of a punk background. That's kind of the thing. And, you know, you have those Los Angeles iconic punks scene behind you. Because if you would have taken a song, which has, and please take this as a big comment, it has a big pop song feel to it. The choruses, the big chants. A pop artist, though, would have taken that to a positive place. My heroes are still alive. My heroes might be dead, but I can be one. You just took it like the antithesis of that. You just went, "Oh, they're all dead. What's next?" And it's really it is refreshing in a lot of ways to not take it and to turn it into this big kind of like, we're all in this together gang. You were just like, "Fuck it, you guys are on your own."
I just can't write like that. I can't.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me too. Like I hate to say that. Like I love singing about the negative, you know? I just feel like that's way more real to me, you know? And especially more cathartic. Like there's plenty of people that do like the happy very well, and I'll just leave it to them.
Yeah. That's right. You're going to stay in your lane.
Yeah. Can I go back to, I wanted to ask this. You mentioned that you signed with Warner and they're listening to old demos, right? And you guys are going through the culling songs and culling ideas. How do you respond to that when the label says, "Hey, we love this. We think this is a thing," right? Is it one of those things where you're going, I mean, I guess I'm trying to ask, is it, and clearly they're your record company and everything seems to be good, but do you look at it and go, was that, I guess the better question is, or the actual question is, did you like that idea when they said, this is a good one, this is something worth working on? Or was it one that you were just like, you know, it's probably third on my list if we're going to work on something? How did that process and that conversation go?
I think it was a mutual. I'm trying to remember. I think at that point we were working with Noah Shane, who did our first 2 albums, producer. And we kind of we were on board. He was on board at that time, but it was before Warner really were like, "Okay, we'll sign you." So it was songs that we knew would be great and songs that they kind of liked as well, and that we were going to spend our time on and to get right. And we did a bunch of demos at the time, and they loved it, you know. And that's when I fully wrote the song with like "All My Heroes Are Dead" and stuff like that. I forget what the actual title of the song used to be, but it was, yeah, we brought it to life before they necessarily signed
Gotcha.
us.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a really healthy thing that I don't feel like, and I could be wrong, but I don't feel like that happens a lot, where there's a real, revisiting old ideas that just because they're not today's idea doesn't mean that they're not worthy ideas. And the going back and trying to put those things together with something new and something older is kind of, I can't say it's a lost art, but see, I'm in Nashville, and I've been in the country music business for a long time, always been a metalhead, but in artist management in Nashville.
Right.
And there's that thing where it's like the fresh song, man, it comes from the publisher, goes to the artist. It's like, oh, it's the newest thing that is the best thing. Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really healthy and great process for you guys. And I think it shows, when you listen to your music, it shows that there is that commitment to making sure it's right. And there's a lot of music out today that is just kind of like, well, we're writing our next record and it takes 6 months. And I kind of feel like it's like, man, I don't know if it's gonna, it might be great in 6 months, but Van Halen probably had 20 or 30 or 50 demos before they even had put out Van Halen 1, and then and that's a great example. I'm talking too much, but that's a great example with Van Halen. Like their record, Justin, what was it? The Truth
different kind of Truth. Yeah.
I mean, that had like 4 or 5 tracks on it that were written in 1974. Right. So it's like, it's really healthy. I'm glad that you guys do that. And your music shows that. I got thrown in here as the fill-in host today. So I had to get refamiliarized. And it really shows that it's like, there's elements to it that you can tell we're very thoughtful and honed in on and made sure that they were right. So I appreciate that from you guys very much. I think it's super cool.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, most of it is kind of old stuff that we were like, there's just something about this, but obviously needs a lot of work. There was like a spark and a magic that lasted throughout these years that we still revisited when we listened to it and go, God, there's just something about this. A lot of that is on this record, or on this album.
Yeah, it feels like you gotta have a relationship with those ideas to be true to those ideas and not just dump them away because they're not today's idea, right?
Right. And we've worked them so many times, rewrote it, dumped it.
Yeah.
Put a little bit of this, dumped it, made it faster, dumped it, and then just let it sit. A lot of these were marinated, you know?
Right.
I think that's the word that we're looking for. Just really, if it just rotted or if it was just like fucking fine wine and it was just ready, this was the time to drink it,
Yeah. Go ahead, Jeff. Justin.
No, I was just saying, with the choruses on this very big, kind of big, I was funny listening to the song over and over again. It had like a big tent, side, like roadside tent revival kind of sound to it a little bit. Like I can imagine driving by a Pentecostal like roadside tent and hearing those big kind of like choruses you just had. I sometimes it makes me think about like that is there any kind of spirituality in you guys that makes you kind of come up with like things like that? Is there an aspect of your life where there's just big kind of like, it almost has a kind of a religious kind of like sound to it in a lot of ways? And what I'm saying of that is like any church you go by, whether it's a Baptist church or whatever, you hear this big old like, whoa.
I mean, we love that kind of, like Aretha Franklin kind of used a lot of that in like her, like, you could hear a lot of that in the background and stuff. There's one song in particular that we just loved, Susie and I, where her singer is singing this gospel thing, and it is crazy because we were like, who is this in the background singing? And she's belting into this reverb, and it is so amazing. It is so just like this, she's not even saying words, she's just kind of going off. Like I'm sad that I can't remember the word for it, can't remember the title of the song, but she's singing and it's like a religious experience. You're just like, this is insane, like I feel like I'm closer to God now.
Yeah.
And there's just something about it where you feel like you're not, that's what's the great thing about music in general. When you find a song that you love, you're just like, you're transported, you know what I mean? Like it's transcending. whatever it is, like whatever religion or whatever it is you believe in, there's something that does happen to us as humans, you know? And whatever that is, I think it really became clear when I heard that one song where I was just like, oh my God, I want to be like this when I sing. And it wasn't even Aretha Franklin, it was her sister singing in the background, you know?
Yeah.
It's
the things you don't really pay attention to the first 50 listens, but when you start really breaking the song down, but you're right about the spirituality of music. There's those shows you go to where the whole room just levitates.
Oh my gosh.
Whether it's being someone like yourself who may have seen the Bad Brains back in the day, or Al and I go see Iron Maiden, it's like you fucking levitate. And
you're just like, this is the best experience ever in my life.
This is what this is all about. This is why we started loving this stuff at 4 years old.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Oh, the only thing I was gonna ask is I just want to focus on Heroes for one more second. Is like when I listened to that song again, I kept going, man. Not that bands sometimes remind you of other bands, and I kept going, what does this sound like? What does it sound like? It reminded me of a lot of the stuff that Art did on Sparkle and Fade with Everclear.
Which, oh wow.
Yeah, I get really that. I get that.
Yeah,
I need to revisit that album.
Holy shit. You said there's parts where you don't sound like him, obviously, but there's parts where it feels like this could have been on that album, or vice versa.
Holy shit.
Okay. I was like, so, but please revisit it. I think you might go.
Oh, I will.
All right. Yeah. It takes one of those ears like, what album does this remind me of? Because I was going, God damn it. And then I thought, fucking Everclear.
Holy shit.
Well, and you know, Emily, maybe it's one of those things that stuck in the back of your mind that just comes out. I mean, that's the beauty of our influences, 100%. Right? You know, so
yes.
Who knows that, whether you listen to it one time or 100 times, maybe that's the beauty. You can hear everything and everything.
There's something about it that just stays there.
Yeah.
And then when you're playing, you're like, this sounds right. But it's like, why does it sound right? Because it's all just.
It's always been there.
Yeah. But like, why does it sound right? It's because you have this other thing that was there that you at one point were like, this is what's fucking awesome. And then what is it, 20 years fucking later? You know? Like, oh no, this is right.
And 2 albums from now, you and Susie may go, you're gonna write something and throw something in the background and go, what was this? Oh my God, it's that Aretha song we listened to. Holy shit.
Yeah.
We did try to take that little thing, and it's actually in a demo that I did something similar that wasn't fully written for this album. It'd probably be like the next one. But I kind of try to do a little bit of what she's doing.
Okay. Well, listen, speaking of songs, let's talk about the song that was, prior to this, Hands Up.
Yep.
That song to me came out in 2020. It's got more of a bite to it. And it sounded like, to me, sounds like someone who's been kind of pent up for a while. Obviously, we all have been. And it just sounded like an artist having a chance to finally rage a little bit. And it's got especially your screams on that one. They're pretty sonic.
Yeah.
Again, I know this is going to be on the new album. And again, was it one of those things like, this is the first song we're going to use to represent this one?
Yeah, I think it was the first one that was fully written and recorded. It happened so fast. Yeah. That one was actually written during pandemic, or right before the pandemic. No, right before, around that time. And it was one that just kind of stood its ground, and we're just like, oh, we know the song's going to be on the album. It was our friend that was helping us on tour and stuff as a bass player. He kind of helped write that one, and it was something that just happened in the rehearsal room, and we're like, oh, this is fucking sick. And then we recorded it. It was so fast. And I knew what the song was about right away. Oh, this is my dog. Oh my goodness. Hi, honey. I'm doing a podcast. Wow. I can. Hi, honey. Sorry.
Let's let the dog have his or her moment here. What's her name? His name.
Hi, Char. It's Charlotte. This is Charlotte.
Oh, hey, Charlotte.
That's Susie's boyfriend, was helping me take care of the dog.
Hey,
while
Susie's
we rehearsed.
boyfriend. That's a weird name.
That's Alex. That's Susie's boyfriend, Alex. His awesome. Brother is actually playing bass for us on this tour. So
I was going to ask the family. If you guys, I was going to see if you're expanding the band for the tour. Oh my God!
What was that?
I'm kind of curious if you're going to be expanding the band for the tour, but question answered.
we're
gonna let Charlotte get her licks in.
You're getting a lot of salt.
Yeah, she has a sodium deficiency.
Yeah,
she always does. Oh, she's always so sodium deficiency.
She's adorable.
Now, does Charlotte go on the road with you? Is Charlotte a
No.
tour dog? No. Okay.
No.
You can hear her grunting with love.
Yep.
It was like what happened with Justin at the campfire last night.
It's right. That's right. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So I have two questions.
There's gonna be 5 of us on
5 on stage.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 guitars, me, 3 guitars, me as well. It's gonna be fun. Big.
That's all
fun.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's a lot of riffing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed that just to get studio geeky for a second. This is every time I come on and co-host for Chad or fill in for Chad. I always get geeky about studios and recording and that kind of thing. Your recordings sound very natural and real, which is super refreshing to the ear. Is that how does obviously everything's real, right? There's no funny business and everybody's playing, right? Because there's a lot of recordings nowadays that are not.
Yeah, no, we play everything. And if there is any kind of programming and stuff like that, it's usually something that we've done that we've kind of fucked up with, you know, to make it sound like a sample or something. Like even on Heroes, that synth thing that you hear, that's a guitar to make sound like a synth, you know?
Yeah. It just sounds like you guys sound like a rock band, which is, it's sad that you have to say that, but anymore, it feels really good. It feels like, and unfortunately I didn't get a chance to see you on the ship last year because I get to see about 30 seconds of every band at best.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but it sounds like it's great live. Did you see him on the ship, Justin?
Absolutely did.
Yeah, it sounds like your records all your recordings sound like they're going to sound great live. So this year in January, I'm going to definitely be very, very present and checking out the show because I can't wait to see it.
There's a couple songs on this album that are just like, what? Like you guys are playing what? This doesn't make any sense. But then it'll be like, oh, this makes sense. So we kind of lost our minds a little bit and did a couple songs that are very. I wouldn't say very. Yeah, one of them is very different for us, but it's fun. We were having fun. We recorded this album in our rehearsal space. Yep,
it sounds like it in a very good way.
We recorded it in our fucking rehearsal space because we couldn't go to a studio. Right. So it was Sean that did a lot of the production. You know, our drummer. Yeah, he really took a lot of initiative to be like, and he really wanted to do it too. He did a lot of our demos. So we knew that room. We've been in this place for like almost 10 years now. So we know the sound of it. We know how to do it. So
you know, there's
go ahead.
Al, no, I guess Al reminded me of you guys do sound like a rock band on those records. And it's funny when you come to a label, Warner Brothers, you know, there's tends to be a Warner, like major labels for the most part tend to like, hey, we want to gloss you up a little bit. We want to make polish this. We're going to have to sell this thing on a mass scale. We want it to be as clean as possible. But you're lucky Warner's is one of those labels that doesn't really, I don't see them getting too involved. They kind of let artists be artists. That's kind of their track record.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, they're the ones that we're like, I think you guys could do this in your studio, you know, like we'll provide everything you guys need in order to do that, you know. And we're like, fuck, okay, that's great, awesome. And then our producer, Noah Shane, like he wasn't even in the room. Like he was too, you know, obviously afraid of COVID because he had family and we don't, you know, like he has kids and his wife and stuff. So he had to be very cautious. And then little by little, we were just kind of like in such a role and like figured out like, this is what we want it to sound like. That it was like Sean took over at the end, you know, for the most part.
Yeah. And a lot of labels too, they're having to do that. They're having to kind of become more artist, quote unquote, friendly because a lot of artists are like gone to independent route, say, hey, we can make these records on our own. We can do this. It's all going to the same distribution chain.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have a machine behind you. And again, one that has a history and a track record. So, and one that seems to be very artist driven. So that's good. So good for you guys in that one.
Thank you.
So,
yeah.
tell you what, I'm going to do a commercial break here real quick. We'll be going live here shortly to Facebook.
Yep, I'm pulling up the live stream now.
So, hey guys, thank you for joining Making Waves. Besides doing this incredible podcast that, well, this year alone, we've gotten over 6,000 new subscribers. So thank you very much. We also do a really killer cruise called ShipRocked. And well, we're sailing this year in January 2022, thankfully. And well, there are still a few cabins left. So if you guys want to get involved with probably one of the best hard rock and metal cruises, long running cruises, I should say, go to shiprocked.com where there's still some cabins available. Check out all the details and make sure you don't miss us in January 2022, sailing with bands like Lamb of God, I Prevail, and well, Dead Sara, who we're speaking with right now, Emily from Dead Sara. So
sorry, I have to get it. My phone's about to die.
You know what? If it happens to die during this, everyone's well aware now. We'll just let everybody know that things happen, and you're very, these things.
I'm
happen.
so sorry.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So, listen, I want to go to something, and if you've talked about it ad nauseum, please let me know. But when you guys came out, and the first song you guys hit was "Weatherman," and it blew up. You had not only success as far as winning awards for that song being Rock Song of the Year, but you got commercial success. You got advertising success with Fiat. Is there expectations?
Oh, that's right.
What are the expectations like after you come out? You kind of generally come out of the box with a song that just becomes this kind of like, well, becomes your calling card per se, at least at the time.
Yeah.
What's it like on the follow-up? Is there a pressure you put on yourself? Is there pressure from labels? Is there pressure from fans?
We literally have low and no expectations. We honestly just made it that way, where like we tried that. We had expectations following Weatherman, and we've obviously had 2 big releases since then, like our second album and then our EP. And then we were just like, why are we even thinking with that? Like, fuck that. Like, today is today. We have all these we have so many songs, and that just happened to somehow work. Like, we weren't even necessarily thinking that was going to be a single. We did it all on our own too, that first album. Like, it just took, and we're like, okay, now what do we do? Like, that was literally what we were like thinking with at the time. So so that's kind of just where we are right now. We're just like, whatever, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We put so much work into this album in like a great way, where we didn't show people it while we were writing it. We didn't want any kind of outside acknowledgement or outside influence by any means. So we just kept it very much, it's very DIY, like we did it in our rehearsal space, like even having to watch tutorials on how to record certain things and stuff. Like, we engineered it, we did it, so it is the most authentic, I believe, Dead Sara you're gonna get.
When you mentioned that you guys had to watch tutorials, everyone right now who's recording on GarageBand or whatever is breathing a sigh of relief, going, oh my God, they're even having to look. And
completely guilty.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, everyone, welcome on Facebook Live. Thank you for joining us this Wednesday. We are here with Emily from Dead Sara, and we're sitting here basically talking about their new music, stuff they've done in the past, and we're going to be getting to the cruise pretty soon. But if you guys have some questions for Emily, please pose them, and if we choose 1 or 2 of them, well, you just might win something really cool. So we'll continue on with this conversation. I know Al has some. Al's going to nerd out on some gear stuff.
Maybe. We established kind of earlier in the conversation that there's a mix of everything on the new recording, right? There's like some old stuff that you've tweaked and worked on and kind of nurtured, and then maybe there's some newer stuff, and you're kind of integrating all these things. How does the process go with a band that feels like it's pretty, everybody's kind of what am I trying to say? It's very good democracy happening, a good mix of people you've been around for a long time. How do you guys break that out as far as a band goes, as far as what's good, what's bad? How do things go? How do they get cut from a list rather? What's your democracy like? How does the band work internally like that as far as selecting material and even selecting songs to play live?
Patience.
Patience and near manslaughter and near manslaughter.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. Like, just trust me, Emily. Just give it a day, and just listen to it tomorrow. Because, you know, I was just like, I don't know what you're fucking doing here, man. Like, that sounds fucking bonkers. Like, no, put that other thing in there, dude. And, you know, and then you listen to it, and then you listen to some other songs, and you kind of forget about it, and then you listen to it, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
that's fucking dope.
I hate to say that you're right again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had to like push the fucking boundaries more and more and more with this one. And it was so great that that's what we did. Mm-hmm. So eventually we're just kind of all, instead of being like, no, that doesn't sound good, blah, blah, blah. It's like, we gave it time, gave patience, and we trusted the process, you know, and we just had to really think about what everybody was thinking when they, you know, when they were thinking with that part, you know.
Right. And you mentioned trust probably being the operative word here, right? And and you can probably verify this, but it feels like when you trust the people you're making music with, because you're putting your heart out there, right? And you're either making an ass of yourself or making something brilliant, and sometimes in between, but you're putting yourself out there with these people, and you got to trust them, because that's the thing that keeps you guys pushing one another, is that trust. It's like, hey, you know what? You know, and sometimes you've let them down, sometimes they've let you down, and then other times you've blown each other's minds. And trust is, without that, you know, you're never going to do anything. You're never going to do anything great as far as a band goes, right? Then it just becomes it's his or her band, and then at that point, there's challenges to that too. I mean, would you want to do it by yourself? I mean, you know how fucking hard it is to either come up with ideas and like you know, you gotta have. It seems like it sounds to me like you're the person who needs that feedback and that trust and that humanity. Yeah.
Yes, of a group. I absolutely love the dynamic of a group, you know, and trust, absolutely. And you feel safe in that in that group, you know, to say anything, to sound stupid, to be great, and to be pushed into something that you don't want to necessarily go, you know, a place where you don't necessarily want to go. And then realizing when you get there, you're just like, oh my gosh, this is great, you know, like, and you feel so much better as an artist, as a songwriter, as a singer, whatever it is.
Well, then you're
proud. You're all doing it.
Yeah, you're proud for 3 people rather than just for 1.
Exactly.
Right. Or 4 or 5 after a show, right? You're going to be touring with 5 people on the stage this year. Yeah. You know, that you get done with that, and there's 5 people you're proud with, and it's not, you know, that just, you know, that's super cool.
The second guitar player that's coming on tour, I met him during the pandemic. He was my neighbor. And we became really good friends. Yeah, we became really good friends.
Is he the one you're screaming at over the fence? Like, turn that shit down.
But we would never do it at my house. It'd always be fucking here. And I would get home and just be like, whatever. But if he was over for dinner and stuff like that, or watching movies or for a drink, and I'd just kind of show him, because he was part of the process, because he started coming in and recording like video. So he was kind of already in that process of, you know, again, like, we didn't like to show people stuff for their input, but he was somebody I trusted after a little bit of time. And, you know, he's a songwriter, and he was showing me his stuff, and it was really cool. And, you know, at that point I was just like, you know, like, do you want to come on tour? Like, I would love to just not have to play guitar on a lot of these songs and just sing, you know. I've got a lot of pent up energy. I would just like to run around.
Yeah.
From this fucking, you know, so that's how we're doing it. It's like, fuck, that sounds cool.
So the message to all aspiring road musicians and sidemen out there, the trick to getting a great gig is just be careful where you move. Just make the right decision where you move. And then it just happens. It's that easy. Just meet your neighbor, you know.
That's right.
Actually, it's a good lesson for everybody in life, right? Get to know your neighbors.
That's right.
Be social.
My neighbor.
Yeah.
Honey, I really like this 3-2. Yeah, that's a good one. But I think the neighbor down the street, that's the house I want to next to right there.
There are some other musicians that we made friends with as well. But Harrison and I, and my girlfriend, we all became just like really good friends.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Emily, we've had several people ask, and I'll just ask you, I believe this song called Hypnotic, is that going to be on the new album?
Yeah. Oh,
All
I
right.
like how people are asking that. Because that was a song that we tried on the road. Yeah, we actually just did a video for it, so I don't know if I should say that. So
we're totally breaking rules. Breaking rules. Yeah, we should have had the
just because people asked, I feel like I should give it to them.
But Justin, this is why we should have had the Warner Brothers PR guy hang around on this episode.
Believe me, buddy, he's
so mad at you right now, Emily. He's so mad. Yeah.
Hey guys, we'll let you know. Kelly, there you go. Hypnotic will be on a new album and a new video. Wink Wink was just completed for it. There she's going, yes, oh my God, so badass. So that's a great response.
Great.
So we had one question. Might as well get into a question, and this is from. Excuse me while I look at this because the names are coming in here pretty hot and heavy. Jarna wants to know. No, not Jarna. That wasn't Jarna. Sorry. Excuse me. Keep talking. Okay, Randy. Randy wants to know, what was the oddest inspiration for a song or lyric you've ever had?
Reading a newspaper about a plane crash, and I was like, I relate to this. And I'm like, why do I relate to this? And it was on the first album, Whispers and Ashes. And I was like, there's something about this. And that was a weird for me, because it's usually a very personal experience. But I was reading this and I was crying. I was like, there's this plane crash that happened, and there was a sole survivor, and her whole journey through the Amazon and how she came to safety. And it's this whole, I think it happened in the 70s or the 80s, and it was like a revisit to that, and like talking to the sole survivor about it. And that's what I was like 20 years later or something. And I was just like, this is insane. And I don't know why it hit me so hard. And then we were writing the first album, and that was the inspiration for Whispers and Ashes.
Have you had a close call yourself on a plane? Was that why it kind of hit with you, or?
Not at all.
No.
There was just something about, I don't know, I guess there was like a spirituality in it. Like I wanted to understand it. Like, why did you survive that? Like, you should have died. And like her like waking up to it, and her mom and everybody was dead. And it was just like, whoa, dude. Like,
Emily, there you go again.
So cool.
There you go again, writing songs about happy topips. I mean,
very happy.
If we've learned anything on this podcast, is that
why does this resonate with me so much?
There's
hope in life.
The great thing is you are definitely among friends in the audience and in our podcast listeners, because I think we all kind of gravitate towards that,
Yes,
I think it's probably natural, and I think it in a weird way it might be easier because it's. I don't know why, but I feel like it might be easier because it just feels more natural to be negative. Is that horrible? But
Al, I think it's because people are very cynical, and that just feeds off the cynicism.
But I do, but hold on, but not really necessarily because that's who you are as a person. Because you create that music, because clearly there's some super dark musicians or that play really, really dark, heavy themed music that are super great, jovial people, right? And we've been, so it's like it doesn't mean that that's who you are. Alice Cooper is a hilarious guy, but Rob Zombie's a pretty hilarious, super clever guy that doesn't walk, it doesn't walk around.
But you hit upon two musicians who basically are theatrical, so it kind of feeds
right.
Into
but now
it's more cinematic.
The thematic elements are dark for sure. Yeah.
Like if I had this conversation with Gull from like Immortal or one of those kind of Scandinavian death metal bands, I'm sure it'd be a kind of bleak person. There's a little bleakness there.
Maybe.
But I get what you're saying, Al.
Let's get him. Let's get him on, and we'll see.
Let's get him on. Aaron wants to know, do you have a bucket list venue or city you have yet to play?
I mean, we haven't really played Europe yet. I mean, I think all Europe.
Okay. Is there times
France,
when you've
Germany.
sat down? Yeah. Is there a time when you put your head on your pillow and said, you know what? I would love to play Royal Albert Hall.
No.
Nothing like that?
No.
Nah.
I think it's just more festivals.
No musician does that.
I think it's more festivals for us that we think of. Like Lollapalooza and Coachella, like that.
Yeah.
And even like Reading and Leeds, is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like things like that in the UK. Like I just wanted to say it right, because sometimes a little dyslexia. But it's more festivals that we're just like, oh, if we could just fucking play that, That's what I hear when I go in my pillow, and the ringing in my ear. But
Right, and your tinnitus.
Tinnitus kicks in.
Oh, God.
So real quick, so let's talk about, you're going to be coming back on ShipRocked. Thank you. In January
Hell yeah.
2022. We have a lot of people excited about that. You've actually had the ShipRocked experience. And again, we have people want to know, what was the best part and worst part about being on ShipRocked?
Best part was, I'm trying to think of the worst. I'm like, it was all great.
Oh, here we go again, Emily, thinking about the worst.
I know, see? I'm trying to find what the worst part. It was really great. Like having artist meals and stuff, like they really, like for your dietary, like were you able to stay healthy and you get to hang out? I mean, like, I don't know, like what's wrong with that? Like you go hang out at the deck and you're just hanging out, and then you get to play music, and then you see other people playing music and you're making friends. It's so sick. But I do believe I got COVID at the end.
Yeah, I think we all did. I think we absolutely all did.
And we just finished our last set, and we did something. I think it was Chad. Is he like the host guy? Is that
he should be.
Yeah,
he should be here tonight, but he's got problems allegedly.
Yeah, he's got more important people.
Yeah.
But we did like a get to know the band, or like what band knows the band that knows each other more.
The newly band game.
Yeah, so we did that, and I swear I was just dripping with sweat. This is when it hit me hard. I was like, I have this biggest fever. And I was just like, I don't know what's wrong with me right now. And it was so hard to come to grips with like what was happening. And I still didn't know till like months later, because that was like at the beginning of February 2020.
Yep. It was here. And we were in New Orleans, by the way. And we were on an international cruise ship.
Okay. So you guys, somebody else experienced it on it. Like it's not just me.
I came home and I had a cough for 6 weeks.
Okay.
But,
my lungs went to absolute shit.
It's usually the cruise crud. Everyone's been going hard for 5 days and just not eating properly and staying up late. Yeah, it wears you down.
But I think you did have a good selling point though, Emily, which is you have kind of a diet that requires some extra attention. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were taken care of with that, right?
Taken
it was okay?
care of, absolutely.
That's great. Yeah. Because we get a lot of those questions from people. Oh, there you go, Justin. Great coffee.
There was like that one coffee shop that I was like, oh, they can make my coffee. And I was like, okay, then let's
Yeah.
I
can do anything now. Yeah, I can accomplish anything now. Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the time the bands, the only thing they ever issue is sometimes just seasickness or like that, or maybe the boat moves a little bit when they're just not comfortable, that type of thing. But I'm like, you spend enough time on a bus, you pretty much deal with anything like that.
Yeah. I had no problems with that. Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah. So you got the tour coming up, guys. Remember, check Dead Sara out. They'll probably be coming to a town near you. Go there, support them, fly your colors, show support. And if you guys are going to any of the festivals this year, they're coming to be playing. You'll be playing Louder Than Life. What else doing? Rockville?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
I know Louder Than Life.
Yeah.
Rockville? Are we doing Rockville? Is it the one in November?
Justin's gonna arrange it for you.
In November, I think.
Okay.
I don't know what set time yet, but I'm sure catering will probably be about. I don't know where this will be situated.
Yeah. I'm not really thinking with that one because it's all the way in November.
Well, you know what?
As
we see this is all practice for what you guys do in January 2022 with us.
That's right.
So
that's right.
You'll be just good and warmed up.
Yep.
That's right.
We're gonna get the best version of Dead Sara that there is. So we love
Sarah, can we play a quick game of Walk the Plank with you?
Sure.
And basically, Walk the Plank is Al and I will ask you a question apiece, and basically it usually doesn't even relate to music. So you just give your answer, just whatever comes off the top of your mind.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let beauty before age. So Al, you go first.
God, you are so right about that. Thank you, Emily. In what field of expertise would you like a lesson from an expert?
Oh, fuck. Astrology.
Wow. Okay. You thought you were going to have to think about that, and then it just happened, and that just came to you. You were like, oh man, I don't know. And then bam, there it was. So that's a real answer. Okay.
I think there's probably more, but that was the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, good. We like that. Go ahead, Justin.
My question is this, and this actually comes via Jen Zito. Jen is our Jen's our show. Yeah, Jen's our show engineer. So I want to pose her question, which basically, if you could live in anyone's mind for one day, who would it be?
Oh man.
Live or dead? Al, hit the Jeopardy music.
Fuck. I don't know. That's a really tough one.
I think you can pass.
I think she was going to say Edgar Allan Poe.
I think you can pass, but you have to pass it to Justin.
Oh, Charles Bukowski. There you go.
Charles Bukowski. Okay.
Yeah, you know, Al, he became famous after he died, so that should be very interesting.
Well, he was just old. He was like 50.
Right, for his time, he was old.
I just like the fact
for
that
his drinking habits, he was old. So.
Yeah.
50's old.
I just want to know what he was going through. I guess again, like there it goes with the fucking bad vibes, you know, in the darkness.
You gotta know.
He was a guy. Like I want to know more. I want to know this other level that I'm not at. Fuck me, dude.
You know, this is really good. Al, you were gonna ask me, and I was kind of going to go in the same direction. I was gonna say Hemingway.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because everything about him was, whether it was like Thompson or Hunter Thompson or not, was either made up or very grand. Everything was massive. Yeah. Lost at sea. I fought, you know, I fought the whale on my own kind of shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like that kind of like incredible literary license kind of folks, like Bukowski. You know, how many bar brawls did he actually get in?
What?
Yeah.
Oh right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
because I knew somebody, or I know somebody that was saying that she would go to like, she knew somebody that knew him, right? Mm-hmm. And she was a writer or something and worked at a publishing, something like that. And she was basically saying she knew this girl, right? My friend, some acting or writing, whatever. And this lady said that anytime he would come over, he was never drunk, never in like a bad mood. And I'm like, what the fuck was he just playing with? Like, it fucked me up.
See, that's what I mean, like, though. Not all darkness means that the person's unhappy.
Yes.
Correct.
See?
Yeah.
Stephen King seems like a pretty happy guy. Like you hear him talking, like how he lives his life.
Just like,
and then Danny's not here, Mrs. Torrance, you know, like,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Al, Stephen's happy because he could buy you and I 1,000 times over.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? I'm for sale to him.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's fine. Emily,
I was real quick. I just want to, on the Bukowski thing. Did you ever see Barfly, the movie with Mickey Rourke as Bukowski?
No.
You should watch it, because I think what happened is the greater pop culture has grabbed hold of that movie and thought, wow, Bukowski's just a drunk. So all he does is sit on the edge of a bar and beat up Faye Dunaway.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Which I mean, who wouldn't want to do that?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I go dark. Emily, what's the last thing you cried about?
Ooh, it's this morning.
Besides this interview.
This morning, I woke up to. Do you follow the Dodo on Instagram?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the best and worst. It kills me.
Oh, and her phone died.
Her phone died.
You know her phone died.
Real quick, can we know why you cried? What was the dodo? What did the dodo do today?
Yeah.
I think it was just a bird that was choking, and then somebody saved it and took. It was just the first time I've ever seen that.
Yeah.
You know, like somebody found a bird. It was on the and then I mean, I literally every morning they post something, and I'm just like I start crying.
Yeah, it's torture. You want to delete it. You want to unfollow it, but then you can't, because they always have that video where it's like, you know, duck and puppy become best friends. You're like, I gotta fucking see this.
Yeah.
Then you push all my buttons and make me watch. You know me. You complete me. I love it.
Yeah. So can you tell folks what you're doing right now? You're in the rehearsal space.
In the rehearsal space, yeah. Everybody's just kind of leaving now. Everybody say hi.
Could you be a real badass to them and just tell them, like, if they don't get their shit together, you're gonna get really mad? Like, do that. Play that game.
Do a slow
you missed that. I already did that.
Al wants to see every piece of gear in there. So if you can do a slow pan.
Hey, don't, man. This is my gear porn right here. Oh, he's got a big sky. Oh, that's not. Is that your Big Sky reverb? Was that your setup?
No, this is our friend Harrison. That's
Harrison, the neighbor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's Charlotte.
She's playing tambourine.
Our folks earlier in the podcast didn't get to see Charlotte, but now they're able to see her.
Oh, yeah. Here she comes, really slow. But she'll get here eventually.
Is that a King Charles Spaniel?
It is. There she is.
Fantastic. Wow. I saw that breed on Sex and the City.
That's right.
Unfriend.
It was Charlotte's dog in Sex and the City. So people always ask.
So you love Charlotte? Al, I swear to Christ, dude.
Listen, man. Listen, you know too much, Justin. You know too much.
I dated the wrong girl.
And people always ask, like, it's from Sex and the City. And we're like, no, but I mean, sure.
Kinda, yeah.
It kind of is, yeah. But it's just such a funny resemblance that we get it all the time.
Yeah.
Wow. So everybody's packed up. We're trying to get a full the live experience, but all we got is knees and butts, backs of knees and butts. And man in purple shirt,
and roll.
Kicking ass.
Welcome to rock and roll. Butts and knees. That's the rock and roll business.
Yep.
And then that's a picture of me jumping in a crowd behind us.
Is that you?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's fucking great. That's great.
I know. Our friend Brian Bowen Smith took that.
Is that on your website? Is that on your photos and your Facebook or anywhere on your Instagram?
I'm sure. Yeah.
That's a phenomenal shot. Good for him. And look at you.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Just jumping.
That's LA hardcore right there.
Most importantly in the shot, she's got a Kemper over her left shoulder. So that's very important.
For sure. Yeah.
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 That's what I was staring at. I didn't even notice the photo.
Al, I can't take you anywhere. Sort of Christ.
I'm sorry. Anyway,
well, Emily, look, we've had you for a full hour, and we can't thank you enough for you giving us your time. And obviously, we want to thank everyone from the ShipRocked Facebook Live family who came and watched and asked us great questions. Thank you so much, guys. Check out Heroes. It is available now wherever you stream, or you can probably go on iTunes and buy it for $1.29, which would be awesome. And also check out Hands Up, the first single off the new album that's coming out, TBA. And
that's right.
Well, make sure and check the band out this September while they're on the road. And if you can't see them at a local club or theater near you, you can probably go down to one of those big old festivals and check them out.
That's right. We'll be playing those too.
Yeah, and Emily, you and the band we will see in January 2022. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Can't wait, man.
Listen, look, we want to thank everyone who joined us, and we can't be happier than being part of the Sound Talent Media family. So thanks to those people for having us on and helping us get a real reach with our podcast here. Podcast here. I'm a little parched, Habib. Yeah. Anyway, thank you again, Emily.
Emily, thanks so much.
Best of the band.
Yeah.
See you later. It was great catching up.
Guys.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.